Hello everyone, I am Deep Patel from the Department of Mechanical Engineering. Today we are going to start our new chapter of the subject Basic Mechanical Engineering. The name of chapter is chapter number 4, Properties of Steam. Okay, so first of all you have to understand that what is the difference between the steam and the gas. We know that our third chapter was properties of gas. In the properties of gas, we have discussed about the ideal gas, perfect gas, and we have discussed about the basic gas laws like Boyle's law, Charles law, Gay-Lussac law, etc. Okay, so that was all about the gas. Now we are going to discuss about the steam. So first of all, where the steam is used. Okay, so steam is used to generate the power in the thermal power plant. Okay, we are producing steam in the boiler, then that steam is going to the turbine, then that steam is rotate the turbine, and after that due to the rotation of turbine the electricity is generated. Okay, so ultimately we are getting electrical power from the steam. So this is the simple application of steam. So the properties of steam chapter is most useful to understand the behavior of the steam, because there are many types of steam is available like dry steam, wet steam, superheated steam, and all the steams are useful for the various conditions. So first of all, in this chapter we will discuss about the what is the difference between steam and gas. Then we will discuss about the how the steam is generated. Okay, and after that types of steam, and then we will learn how that steam is useful in the turbine. Okay, so let us begin with the difference between steam and gas. Okay, so let us start the discussion. First is the steam is the state of substance in which the evaporation is not completed from its liquid form. Okay, and in the gas the evaporation is completed from its liquid form. Okay, now the second difference between the steam and gas is that it does not obey the Boyle's law, Charles law and the Gay-Lussac law. Okay, in properties of gas we have discussed about the Boyle's law, Charles law and Gay-Lussac law. Okay, so the Boyle's law, Charles law and Gay-Lussac law is followed by only gas, is that is not followed by the steam. Okay, because that laws are for the ideal gas or the perfect gas, but the steam is not ideal gas or not it is a perfect gas, so we cannot use Boyle's law, Charles law or Gay-Lussac law for the steam. Okay, now next point is when steam is cools and it get condensed. Okay, so we can convert steam into the water. Okay, but the gas are not condensed at moderate temperature and pressure. So we slightly decrease the pressure or we slightly decrease the temperature, the gases cannot convert into the water or into the liquid form. Okay, but steam can easily convert into the water with decreasing small pressure or small temperature. Okay, so that is possible with the steam. Okay, next the specific volume is less compared to the gas. So okay, so the specific volume of the steam is less compared to the specific volume of the gas, because gas occupy more volume compared to the steam. Okay, so these are the some basic difference between the steam and the gas. Okay, so let us understand how the steam is generated. So this is the simple diagram from which you can better understand how the steam is generated from the water. Okay, so initially here we have take water is equals to 0 degree Celsius. Okay, now we are supplying heat with the help of burner. Okay, so here you can see from the first figure that water is at 0 degree Celsius. Here we have put some extra weight over the water, that weight indicates the pressure. Okay, so here we have already supplied some external force over the water, and we are going to supply heat from the water with the help of burner, and water is available at 0 degree Celsius. This is our initial condition. Now the volume occupied by the water at this condition is equals to V0. Okay, Now we are going to continuously supplying heat from the bottom side. So what happens after some times, the temperature of the water will be rise. Okay, so we can say that 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Then at the time of 100 degrees Celsius, we all are doing this calculation at the constant pressure, that is the atmospheric pressure. Okay, so we can say that when the temperature of water is reaches to the 100 degrees Celsius, what happens, the water is gradually start converting into the steam. Okay, so we can say that if there is a 1 kilogram water, then at 100 degrees Celsius what happens, the molecule of vapor water will gradually converted into the steam. Okay, so we cannot say the 1 kilogram of water will 100% convert into the steam at that particular time. Okay, so we can say that when that 100 degrees Celsius temperature is achieved, that temperature is known as the saturation temperature. So we can say that at the saturation temperature, water is trying to convert it into the steam, or water is start to convert it into the steam. Okay, but at that particular time 100% water will not converted into the steam, that you have to remember. Okay, so T saturation means it is the temperature at which water will begins to convert into the steam. Okay, now the volume occupied at T saturated condition is known as the Vf. Okay, so in the second figure you can see water is at T saturated and the volume occupied by water at that temperature is the Vf. Okay, now what happens, water is converted into the steam. Okay, so after certain times what happen, from the 1 kilogram of water, 500 ml of water will converted into the steam and 500 ml of water will remains in its liquid state. Okay, so we can say that this in between condition where the steam and water both are present, that is called as the wet steam, in which steam particle and water particle both will be present. So our third figure shows that there is a wet steam. Okay, and the volume occupied by the wet steam is indicated by the XVG. Okay, so here in the third figure we have shown that there is a wet steam and the volume is XVG. Now we are continuously supplying heat. So after some times what happens, 100% water is converted into the 100% steam. Okay, so 1 kilogram water is converted into the 1 kilogram steam. So at that point, the steam is known as the dry steam and the volume of dry steam is indicated by the Vg. Okay, so our fourth figure is the figure of dry steam and the volume which is occupied by the dry steam, it is indicated by Vg. Okay, now next, again we are going to supply heat. So after that what happens, the dry steam will convert into the superheated steam, because after converting into the 100% steam we are continuously supplying the heat to the steam. So finally what happens, it will becomes the superheated steam. So our last state is the superheated steam. Okay, and the volume occupied by the steam at the superheated condition is the V superheated. So you can see from the figure, when there is 100% water at 0 degrees Celsius, there was the smallest volume. Okay, when we are going to supply the heat, the volume is gradually increase. At wet steam the volume is greater than the liquid. Then in the dry steam, when the water is converted into the 100% steam, the volume is more, and at the superheating condition there is the highest volume. So we can say that the volume is gradually increase. With that the temperature is also gradually increase. But here you have to keep in mind, when the phase changes occur, temperature is remains constant. So we can say that when there is a water at T saturated condition, or we can say that when the water is start converting into the steam, the temperature 100 degrees Celsius is constant, and when there is a 100% conversion of water into the steam is occurs, or we can say that at the dry steam condition the temperature is same, that is the 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, so during the conversion of water into the steam, the temperature will remains constant. Okay, so this all the things we can understand from this graph. Okay, let us plot temperature enthalpy plot for this boiling process. So if we start from the position number A, Position number A is our 0 degree Celsius condition when there is a 100% water. Okay, so this is indicated by the position number A, 0 degree Celsius water, or we can say that 100% water. Now we are going to supply the heat from the burner. So what happens? Gradually temperature will increase, and with the temperature the enthalpy will also increase. Okay, so after certain times what happens? At position number B, position number B is our saturation condition, or we can say that from 0 degree to 100 degree Celsius condition. So at 100 degree Celsius what happens? The water will start to convert into the steam. Okay, so the position number B is indicate that the water is at saturation temperature or at 100 degree Celsius temperature. Okay, so the heat which is supplied from A to B, or we can say that from 0 degree to 100 degree, that heat is known as the sensible heat. Okay, after that what happens? The water is converted into the steam. So during this conversion the temperature is remains constant. Okay, and the heat which is supplied during the conversion of water into the steam, that is known as the latent heat. So here we have indicated it by the latent heat, and latent heat, that is the XHFG. Okay, so the enthalpy change occurs at this time is the XHFG. Here X is the dryness fraction. Okay. At point number B, the enthalpy available, it is the HF, and the volume available, that is the VF. Okay. Now next, what we are going to do? We are going to supply more heat. So the enthalpy will rise, and after that what happens? The steam, or 100%, after the conversion of the 100% water into the steam, the stage is came, that is the dry saturated, or the we can say that dry steam. Okay, so point number C indicates the dry steam. After that we are going to again supply the heat. So when we are going to supply more heat, the dry steam will become the superheated steam. So the region between C to D is the superheating region, and at that time the temperature will increase from T saturated to the T superheated. Let us take one example to understand it. We know that 100 degrees Celsius temperature is the saturation temperature. If we provide more heat, then the temperature will rise and it will become 150 degrees Celsius. So we can say that 150 degrees Celsius is the superheating temperature and 100 degrees Celsius is the saturation temperature. So between this 100 to 150 degrees Celsius we have to supply some heat. That heat is known as the sensible heat. So we can say that the heat which is required to change the temperature, that is known as sensible heat, and heat which is required to change the phase, that is known as the latent heat. Okay. So all the description is given here about the diagram. We can say that at point number A there is a water at 0 degree Celsius and heat will be supplied. So it will reach to the point number B, and point number B is our saturation condition. Okay, the saturation condition, the enthalpy, that is known as HF. Okay, after that again we are going to supply the heat so that the water is converted into the steam, then it is reached at the point number C, and that region is known as the region of latent heat, where we are going to convert water into the steam. Okay, next after that dry steam is generated, and then we are going to supply more heat. So finally it will become the superheated steam. Okay, now this is the definition of the saturation temperature. So we can say that the saturation temperature is the temperature at which the water is begins to boil at given pressure. Okay. Next definition is the degree of superheat. Now what is the meaning of degree of superheat? Degree of superheat is the difference between the superheated temperature and the saturation temperature. So that the same example we are going to take on, that the superheating temperature is 150 degrees Celsius and the saturation temperature is 100 degrees Celsius. Then the difference between this temperature, that is 150 minus 100. So 50 degree is the degree of superheat. Okay. And next is the amount of superheat. So we can say that the heat required for this superheating condition, that is known as the amount of superheat, and that can be found by the MC delta T. Okay, so this is what all about the steam generation process. Okay, so in this lecture we have discussed about the two main important topics of the chapter number 4. The first topic is the difference between the steam and the gas. And second, we have discussed about the steam generation process. So how the steam is generated from the water. Okay, so this is the end of our lecture. Thank you for today.